Hey y'all, welcome back to the podcast. In this week's episode, you're going to get to meet my amazing client, Jay. Jay breaks down why entrepreneurship is actually a spiritual assignment. And inside of this episode, we talk about the struggles, the frustrations, and the unwavering belief that it takes to become a multiple six-figure earner, which she's been able to do in less than a year. Honestly, y'all, this episode, there was moments when I had tears in my eyes because what I see in front of my face is a woman that had self doubt and concerns and struggles, but decided that she was going to rise up against the noise anyway. So grab your tissue because it might make you cry a little bit. But honestly, if you've been looking for inspiration to just do the thing, this is the episode for you. Can't wait for you to listen, and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome to the Elevate Your Online Business podcast. I'm your host, Latisse Hudson, and in 2018, I quit my corporate job, launched my coaching business, and in less than 1 year, I hit the six-figure mark. And now I'm here to help you do it too. So each week on the podcast, I'm going to share all things money, mindset, and online marketing so you can reach more people, make more money, and do what you love from the comfort of anywhere in the world. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. It's your time to elevate. Hey, Jay, welcome to the podcast. I am so excited that you're here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Latisse.
You're so welcome. I've been looking forward to this day. I know we had to reschedule, but I was so excited to get you on the podcast because you are just like you're the rocket. Like you are just a little rocket, a rocket of light, a rocket of love, rocket of truth, rocket of power, all the things. Like every time I see you on social media, I'm just like, there Jay is at, there she is again, like just spitting nothing but facts. So I'm really happy to have you here today. So I would love to start off. If you want to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit more about you, what you do, where you're from. Tell the people.
Awesome. So first of all, thank you so much, Latisse, for having me on. It's an honor and a privilege. To all your listeners out there, my name is Jay. I am a business and sales transformational coach, and I own Ellison Consulting here in Memphis, Tennessee. And so basically, what I do is I help women coaches and consultants to achieve 15K months, establish authority online, and we do that without ads or fancy funnels. So we just kind of do it organic.
Yes, it's the simplicity for me, honey. It's the
Yes.
simplicity. So tell us, like, I would love to kind of kick off and know, like, how did you get to where you are today? Like, what prompted you to want to be a business and transformation coach? Like, where does that come from?
Oh, absolutely. So I have a background in recruiting and talent acquisition. So I've always been kind of that person that relied on relationships to build businesses. And so I had no idea that I was quote unquote good in sales until people started telling me, like, how did you get that deal? And how did you get that when I was working in corporate? And I would be like, oh, I just, established relationships. I just did this. And it was just so natural for me that I was selling without even realizing I was doing it. And so what happened was, of course, corporate America, as you start to ascend in the corporate ladder, I started noticing that, I was not really getting the recognition I deserved. In my opinion, I was top 25 in what they call the circle of stars and all of these things, but it was always something coming up about management or director, like, Jay, we fill this role or this and the other. And it was always kind of like this prolonging thing. But then I think the final straw was when I became a director of a startup consulting company in Texas. And I mean, I'm gunning it, right? I'm building the business. I took the business from like, you think it was like 250K to like 7K, 6 or 700K. And I want to say probably about a year and a half. And I mean, my salary stayed the same. I got me a small little $1,000 bonus. And I was like, yeah,
This ain't
time to
it.
go.
Uh-uh.
Like, no.
Oh,
So,
wow. I would love to back
mhm.
up real quick. First off, that's unacceptable. $1,000 bonus for all that amazing work that you did. Like, what is wrong with people? We'll talk about that later. But I would love to kind of know, like, why do you think you got? And this is really interesting because I think this is important as we kind of reveal your story the rest of this podcast. Like, that kind of, it seems like that kind of propelled you, like getting passed up continuously on those roles. Why do you think that happened?
Oh, great question. So I feel like Now, looking back, of course, I felt like I was not as pushy, or like I would see people like that were being, advanced. And I was always kind of a person that just kind of stood back and let it happen.
Mhm.
I've even, told people like, hey, you go and apply, you go and do it. But then I'm like, I should have done that. Like I should have just applied. But then when I was ready to, it was an issue. So
Mm.
I was never like pushing myself to those leadership roles or being seen. But then when I was ready to do it, it was always kind of like an issue. So I just kind of accepted it. And, I really feel like I did not exhibit myself in that, like projecting in that leadership role, even though I led in my actions and my behavior. The actual obtainment of those opportunities, I felt like I just kind of was too passive about it.
That's really powerful because so many women listening right now are sitting at home wanting to leave their 9 to 5, wanting to start their businesses, wanting to leave their partners,
Mhm.
wanting to travel the world, whatever it is, but they're just letting life pass them by and like celebrating and congratulating everybody else, right? But not taking the action that they need to take because we could take action, but it really boils down to that massive action because the massive action is what gets us uncomfortable. And I want to kind of pivot and talk about some of the massive action that you've taken to get kind of here where you're at today. So, what was like that light bulb moment for you when you said, enough is enough? I'm starting my own business. It's time to go.
Absolutely. So I was working for this bank, and as a lead in talent acquisition HR. And when COVID started to rear its ugly head, um, it was as if, hey, Jay, we're going to have to cut your role. I
Mm,
had already had like this vision rolled out. I was like, you know what? If something was to happen, this is what'll happen for me. So when that happened, it was the last straw because it was the third time in my long HR career that I was like, restructure, reorg, and we got to let you go. So that was the final straw for me. So
mm.
that was March of 2020. So I've had saved money because I didn't know what was going to happen. So I was ready to go. So I went into coaching, charging hourly, and started off at a mere 247 an hour.
That's better than me. I started off at $40 an hour, y'all. 40. I got a $40 Venmo payment.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I just had it. I just, I was just tired. I said, this has to work. This At this point, I'm almost 40. I'm 38. Well, I was 37 at the time and I had a baby. I was like, we gotta go. We just have to make it happen. So I played with that for a couple of months. And then I think it was around like June, July, rose my prices up to a beautiful 697 for an hour. And I saw your course come down my timeline. And I don't want to get too fast, but I'm just telling you, the drastic thing was like, I'm gonna pay this $37 and just see what happens.
And I'm gonna see what
I'm
happens.
gonna see what
And now
happens.
you are a multiple six-figure business owner in less than a year. But we'll get to that. So let me pause real quick. So talk to me about because obviously like your belief had to change, right? So when you go from being an employee to I'm going to be a business owner also with massive personal responsibility. You're a single mom. So it's like it wasn't just like for me, I know y'all hear from me all the time. Like, I don't have children. I'm not financially responsible for anybody else but myself. So when I left corporate, it was a big deal. But for some of y'all, it's a way bigger deal because you have people and humans that are dependent on you. So walk me through like I want to know like what fears did you have? What other thoughts came up for you because the people need to know because some of them are in those shoes right now and they're at the end of the road with their jobs. So what came up
Absolutely.
for you?
Yeah. So one of the biggest things I did was that I swallowed my pride and moved back home. I was a big sacrifice. I had a beautiful town home in Texas. I was paying almost $2,000 in rent because I wanted to stay in the suburbs with the best school district.
The
But
picket
then
white fence.
the pink and white fence with the gym on site, and I needed a new life. I wanted a new life. I sacrificed a lot. Coming back home to a place where, I had so many like skeletons in my closet, like, previous marriages,
Mm,
miscarriages, all these other things that, came up, fears. And then also looking at the fact that I had a kid. and this was my only responsibility, and I had no choice. Like some people can choose to be successful. I had no choice but to be that. I did not want to leave or depart from this, as you guess you could say, this earth realm
Mhm.
and having my baby to leave here to pick up the pieces. So I decided it was a choice to gun it. And I didn't care if I failed. I didn't care if I got it wrong. I just needed everybody to understand like this is the season and the time for me to get this
Due
because I'm not
time.
going back.
I want y'all to listen to this closely. Like, it was a split decision. I know I talk about this a lot in the content that I create, a lot on the podcast, y'all, but it truly is a split decision. And we're going to talk about what that decision yielded, Jay, over the last, I mean, we've been working together. It's just about a year now.
Hmm.
So I got chills when you said, like, no matter what, like, it was a decision, and I wasn't going to go back. And I had to swallow my pride. Like, a lot of us, we look at all the fancy jets and the boats and the women on beaches and all these things, and we get in our head about why isn't it us yet? Not that I would want to be on a beach with women in bikinis, but you know what I mean? Like, all these marketers like make it out to be make six figures in 3 days, when in reality, like, there's some hard stuff that you have to go through. There's some hard truths that you have to realize, and there's hard decisions that you have to make, sacrifices that so many people don't want to talk about in the online industry because they want it to look like it's all rainbows and butterflies, when in reality it's like, no, like, I had to make sacrifices. And I just want to commend you on that, because I know when we crossed paths, I know you were like, this is it, I don't got nothing else, this is it, like, this has to work. Like, there was no plan B, plan C, or plan D. This was it. And I can't wait to talk about what happened after that. But y'all, it was a decision. That's it. Like, it really boils down to that decision. So tell me a little bit more, Jay, about I would love to kind of talk about when you were charging those hourly rates, because you had obviously had some momentum, right? You started charging hourly, then you raised your rates, but you were kind of at like a standstill. So talk to me about, first, how are you getting those clients at the hourly rates? And then what was the decision that you made that, like, this low ticket, mid ticket is not working for me anymore?
Yeah, so I was basically coaching friends and colleagues. And what helped me was that I was already kind of coaching on my job. So
Right.
people kind of knew that I was positive, if you will, empowering, inspiring. They wanted more of that. So when I told people, I was like, hey, I got a coaching practice, and if you want to work with me, this, and oh, okay. So then I started talking more and more about my coaching practice on my social media, had me a little photo shoot, thought I was the bomb. And
You
so
are,
thank you.
and will be, and always.
Uh-huh, forever. So I was just like, let me just coach and see what happens. So as I was doing that, I started to see people really getting some massive results. And I was like, now hold on, wait a minute. Here we go again. Like corporate junior. So we're going back into this. Everybody's winning but me. So it's like, I think one of the biggest things that one of my clients that was in Washington, and she had a recruiting agency. And it was another thing too. A lot of the people that were coming to me were in the HR industry. So one of them like literally took her business from $60,000 to $600,000. And I'm just like, well, my account said 497. That was like, okay,
So there's
I
a
don't want
gap.
to do this.
Where's the gap? Because this ain't it.
Like, how do you just multiply like that? So that was one of the biggest things about, this low ticket life. And I was like, yeah, so if everybody's winning from my intellectual property, then I need to figure out or go to someone who can help me package this thing and take it to the next level. So then that's when I came across you.
And then you saw a $37 product in the newsfeed and said, let me see what this is about. Oh,
Uh-huh. I love it.
y'all. So this is a sign. If you see a $37 ad in the newsfeed, you need to click on it, because it literally will make you hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably. That's powerful, because so many of us feel like we have to prove our worth and charge our worth,
Mm-hmm.
because what society makes out to be, especially to women, especially to Black women, that, oh, you wanting more money is greedy, or you wanting more money is, you can't have more money. You need to stay right here in your lane. I want the whole damn highway. Okay. Like, we
Please.
taking up the whole highway, interstate, like expressway. We want it all. So, what were you feeling when you were charging those rates? From my understanding, it did not feel very good after, pretty quickly there.
Mm-mm. Absolutely. No, it definitely wasn't, especially when I saw the results multiplied. And that's when I kind of got in my feelings. I was like, this is not fair. I don't like this. Thank goodness, I got money to go buy some groceries, but I mean, what if I want to get on the yacht? I can't do that with this 247. So it definitely did not feel good. And it really took me back to my experience in corporate America, accepting salaries that I knew were way undervaluing my expertise and my skill set. And so I was having this feeling and this experience, these stores playing up all over again, even in my own business. And I said, we're not going to come out here in faith with the same experience. So it's time to do something different.
Different, powerful. Whew, yes, it was time to do something different. So let's talk about what that different was. So you were at this point where you're like, all right, it's time to make a move. Saw a $37 offer. That was mine in the newsfeed, by the way, that I put together. It took me 3 months to put together, and I didn't want to put it out because I was like, people don't want this, but I put it out anyway, and it's done pretty well. But I think what most like moves me is that little product changed your life, right? And I don't say that to be egotistical or anything like that. I say that because it's like you could have took that product, which so many people do, and just say, "And this is cute, whatever." Toss it to the side. $37. I mean, that's not a lot of money. We all know that. But you decided that I'm going to use this information and make a move. So what was that
Mhm.
move?
Letitia, I got to a place when I saw that happening, and I remember I cried myself to sleep. And I'm an intuitive person,
Very, you are.
spiritual, very
Love
much
it.
so.
I love it.
People say I'm even prophetic, but that's a whole nother
That's a whole
conversation.
nother podcast.
But what happened, I cried myself to sleep one night, and I was like, God, you got to give me a sign. Like, I would take the sign. I don't care if it's just drop it. I don't like, just give me something to tell me what I need to do next, because this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, and I don't want to feel this feeling anymore. So that was my last thought. I went to sleep, woke up, and I'm literally still in bed. May I remind you, just scrolling on Instagram, and I see Latisse Hudson and this ad, Conversations Convert, because I said I needed something to understand where I'm selling. Like, I know I'm supposed to sell, but what am I supposed to do? That is when I saw that ad pop up with this course, and it was $37. I literally only had at that time probably about $40 to $50 in the bank account. And I just said, well, ain't like I can do anything with this. I may as well pay $37. So I did it, and I was like, oh, this is what they're doing. Like, this is what the people are doing. So I literally made a binder, Latisse, and printed those papers out, and I studied it.
I didn't know that you printed it
I'm
out.
such a nerd. Yeah, I studied it, and I just put it to work. I didn't have anything else. And so, kid you not, in 2 weeks, I made $4,000.
From a $37 product and some
Mhm,
faith.
And I said, yeah, I need to just go ahead and let this hire her as a coach, because
Unwavering belief.
mhm.
Because most people would have just, yeah, tossed it to the side. But you said, this has to work. And I think this is so magical, y'all, because a lot of y'all listening right now are maybe brand new coaches or coaches that haven't gotten consistent clients or wondering what the next step is. If you don't have anything else, y'all, you have the ability to build relationships. And that's what the
Mhm.
foundation of our organic marketing strategy teaches. Because at the end of the day, the best connection is human connection,
Yeah.
period. Right? Everybody's so quick to want to automate and scale. And y'all know I love it. Like, I love talking about that. But if you don't got the foundations down and the ability to communicate like a human to another human and serve them at a high level, you're screwed. So I want to fast forward, and I thank you for sharing that because it requires belief and unwavering faith. Because
Mhm.
you were literally at the, well, this is all I got. So now I got to make a move. Today's episode is sponsored by our signature program. Coaches tell me all the time, I'm ready for freedom in my coaching business. One-to-one coaching has been fun, but I'm ready for what's next. Well, there is a time and a place for courses in one-to-one coaching. When you're looking to scale past those coveted 10K months, an evergreen group coaching program is absolutely necessary. When I launched my Evergreen Group coaching program in 2019, it literally changed my entire life and business. Why? Because I was no longer capped on time. I took my expertise, packaged it up, and sold it one to many every single day of the week. I finally got the real freedom that I've been looking for and the bank account too. This new way of coaching created massive leverage and massive impact. If you're anything like me, your freedom and impact is non negotiable. This is exactly why I want to invite you to apply for the program. Just for applying, I also want to send you over a free exclusive advanced training I recently created about the 3-part framework to consistent 5 to 6 figure months with a high ticket group coaching program. This training is for coaches who are ready to create a group coaching program, attract clients on autopilot, and create a business that you truly love. It's for you, even if you have a small audience of never sold group coaching before. It takes just 2 minutes to apply. Head on over to www.latissehudson.com/apply to get all the details. So after making that investment, talk to me about like when you got those, because you made $4,000, which was amazing. How did you feel when you made that $4,000 within a couple of weeks?
Oh my God, I was so excited that I spent it all up in like a couple of days.
It's easy to spend 4,000, ain't it?
I mean, me and my daughter went on a shopping spree. I was like, yeah, this is good. Okay, so I need to just see what's gonna happen next. So yeah, when I looked at that you were opening up your program for Elevate, I was like, yeah, I need to just go ahead and see what's going on here.
Mhm.
Then I saw the price and I was like, okay, here we go. I got to put my faith to work again. So I don't know if you remember me telling you this, Latice, but I told you, I said, it's not a no, but give me 3 days.
You did say that because I use
Mhm.
I use that screenshot in one of my trainings, that guest trainings that I do, because I talk about how I sell in the DMs and like all the things, and I use that screenshot. Your name's blacked out, but if anybody's listening, she's in that screenshot. I use it because I'm like, this is how you take a no to a yes. And it also like I was detached from your yes or your no. I was detached from it. I was like, she'll be back. And what happened? You came back real quick. And you was like, I'm ready.
I
I remember
do.
I was in a hotel and you said, I'm ready. And I was like, let's
Mhm.
go.
Absolutely. And I had to believe. And I told God, I said, I want to do this. So I ain't got no money because it's only $138 in here. So what we gonna do? And the next day, I manifested two $697 clients to pay. And I said, here we go. Let's do it. Mhm.
Energetic. It was energetic. And then you put that money
Yes.
right back out and said, I'm a 200x this. So tell the people, now they know the whole story. They know the background. They know
Mhm.
where you came from. They know the faith that was required. Tell us what happened next. Like when you got into the program and said
Ooh.
and hit the ground running, walk us through that first like 3 months. Like how did you feel that first 3 months? What happened? What was your biggest takeaway from that? Because I always say the first 3 months are the most exciting, but also probably the most hardest because
Mhm.
you have to really prove to yourself. So tell us what happened.
Yeah, so this is a very interesting story. And I always tell people like your tenacity and your vision has to be bigger than anything. So when
Mhm.
I got into your program, of course, I got nervous because I remember you slapped that $5,000 price tag on my first program. And I'm
Oh yeah,
like,
on your first program, I said you need to charge
eh,
5K for it.
yeah. And I was like, what? I was like,
5K where?
who's gonna buy this? So of course I went into my head. I literally went into my head the entire month. And let's be transparent. The next month I was looking cray cray. I did not have the second payment for Elevate. And I was like, okay, let me make an arrangement. So I did that. Y'all said yes. Then I needed another arrangement. And it was like, that's it. And so here I am, dismissed from a program that I actually manifested and not understanding I had the same power to pull things through. And so when that happens and I got the dismissal, first of all, my mind just kind of went into this thing of like J and failure don't go together.
Mm,
So what was that all about? Some people would take that and say, oh, well, I tried and whatever. I didn't,
It's not
I'm
that
one of those,
important
it's
anyway.
not
My
that
dreams
important.
don't
Yeah.
matter.
And,
And
and,
I'll go
and
back
you know,
to
it's just a little
corporate.
program, right?
Yeah.
So I took it as, this is my opportunity to, first of all, I don't play by my name being, accommodated with failure or associated with that. So I said to myself, okay, Jay, you're going backwards. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. And I emailed you and said, I'll be back.
You
Just give
did?
me, and I think I said 7 days at that point, which is crazy to me. I'm always putting these numbers out there, but I said, give me
And
seven
you
days.
make it happen every time. I just gave the ending. Obviously, she's here, so y'all know what happened, but you make it happen every time. It's so powerful. But continue. Sorry. I'm getting
Yeah, I
chills
see.
because I remember I was just like, I ain't worried about Jay. She'll be back.
I didn't play about it. And next thing I knew, it was like maybe 5 or 6 days later, manifest my first 5K. But it was crazy because even when I said, okay, I'll be back, it's like something happened where I went into massive action again. And I was like, why do I have to get kicked out of stuff to just go into action mode? That's crazy. But anyway, to make a long story short, the client came through and I sent you that DM and I was like, I'm back. Like,
Let's
I
go.
manifested. Yeah. And
And
so,
you took action.
and I took action. I sure did. And it was up from there.
What action did you take?
Well, I came back on in and I just took everything that you taught from the standpoint of the sales piece, relationships, moving that in to the fact that there's a high earning skill set. Like sales is a high earning skill set. And so if you are able to build amazing relationships brick by brick, yes, it hurts sometimes because the rejection, I had to get over that.
Yeah.
But now rejections are just like, yeah, well, I can't afford you right now. And I haven't even told the person my price. So
It's
now
crazy
rejection
how
looks
people
like
do that.
that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I appreciate the guidance and the skill to be able to, if anything happens, I could pick that skill back up.
The crazy thing is that skill set will never go away. Like,
Mm-mm.
that's the thing about high ticket sales. Any skill that you learn, it's not like it goes away. You may get a little rusty, but it doesn't go away. And you can always pull from within to put that skill set to work. And I think it's so powerful, y'all, because y'all just saw this transformation that happened in just a couple of, like, the first, we'll talk about the rest of her time inside of Elevate to Success, but just that quick transformation of like actually wanting it, actually
Mhm.
desiring it, and not just wishing for it. Because I talk about this too, like a wish and desire are two very different things. I heard this from Russ the rapper. I always talk about him. He talked about a wish is something a lot of people wish to lose weight or wish to be rich, and they never actually
Mhm.
get it. What has to switch is that desire, and that's what's happened for Jay, y'all. Like that's literally what happened for you, is that you switch from wishing to be, charge more, wishing to have the clients, wishing to have the lifestyle, to desiring it and taking aligned action and manifestation to be able to get everything that you came on this earth to get. Because and I talked to Jay a lot about this, like what's so good about living a mediocre life? Like there is nothing pleasant
Mm-mm.
about that. I mean, a lot of us have lived that life. Like I'm the first one to say, like for a long time, I lived a mediocre life because I thought that was all that I could have or achieve.
Yeah.
And the switch that had to happen was like, I'm no longer wishing, I'm going to desire. And that's exactly what happened with Jay. Mm,
Yeah. So
I love it.
there's nothing honorable about being in the middle class.
Zero, zip, zilch.
Mm-mm. And that's lukewarm. You're trying to jump rope in between two classes, and either you're poor or you're not. So
Mm,
which decision, are you going to make? And so I've always been the kind of person, I study government, I study, things like that, economics as well. I'm always reading and I'm always think about like being here in the United States. The United States doesn't respond to citizens, they respond to businesses.
hmm
This is a company. The country is a company. And,
Everything,
absolutely.
down to our food, our medicine, everything is
Everything
a
is a
business.
capitalistic opportunity.
Yes.
So if you're not speaking the language, people talk about reparations, like, yeah, that's cool, but why not get your reparations early?
And do it yourself. Like,
Yeah,
can't
do it.
nobody do nothing better for you than yourself.
So that's kind of where I'm at. So the mediocre life, like
Mm.
you have to put your head down and you got to work. Like when people talk about, oh, you got to do this, you just take a
4 hour work
break.
week.
Yeah.
Throw that
Like,
book away.
yeah,
Ugh.
please. Absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes you have to 10x. And that's why I have to shut out the noise when people say, I'm taking 2 months off, or I don't have a choice. I can't take off. And I'm like, yeah, y'all go and do what you got to do. But over here, it's every day for me. I work every day, but I love it. It's
Yeah.
not working from desperation, it's working from inspiration.
And I think that's a key defining difference. It's working
Mhm.
for and setting yourself up for the future and your family up for the future and the life of the future, and not working for just right now. Because I think so often entrepreneurs get caught up in, well, I'm just going to get this email done, or I'm just going to get this, and then I'm going to take a 6 hour break, or I'm exhausted. It's like, you need to increase your capacity, because as an
Yeah.
entrepreneur, right, your capacity is everything. You don't build. I mean, I know your favorite person on this earth is Jeff Bezos. Like, look at Jeff Bezos. Like, do you think he was out here taking 8-week breaks like because he
Mm-mm.
was burnt out? No, like that man worked. And now this is not to, like, I want to place a disclaimer here. Like, this is not to say Jay ever burnt, like, not burnt out, but
Right.
this is not to say she ran herself into the ground for her business or for her clients, because
Right.
I am not an advocate for that. I will never advocate for that, but I will advocate for you reaching your goals every single time, period.
Mhm.
Every single time, because we settle so much as
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, and especially women. We settle, and you give your name. I'm a newbie entrepreneur, so I don't really know that much. Jay was new. Look what you
Mhm.
did.
Mhm.
$5,000, $4,000 in the first couple of weeks, $5,000. And not tell them what you've done since then. Lay it on the people.
Exactly. I was able to look a couple of weeks ago, and I surpassed the 200K sales mark.
Mm.
And that's including like taking vacation in Egypt and going to Scottsdale for Elevate Retreat.
Oh,
And
that was my
I
favorite.
know. And even having a week or two where I'm just kind of like reading and researching and doing personal development and stuff like that, but still being able to hit 215. Well, at that time, we surpassed a little bit more now, but I over to say honestly, I am a multi six-figure business is crazy to me. But I'm so happy because I tell people this is not a play for me. This is not Jackrabbits. This is
It's real life.
100% in. Yeah. You got to want it.
You got to. I mean, you don't
Hmm.
make $200,000 out of thin air.
Yeah. It's not pancake platters.
Oh my gosh, I'm just so freaking proud of you. Like, less was 11 months, because you posted that status in July,
Hmm.
that 200, and you're over that now,
Yeah.
215. We're recording this at the very beginning of August,
Yeah.
and you started with me at the end of August 2020.
I know we're shooting for 500K plus this year.
Period. We had a whole
Hmm.
VIP date together too,
We did.
because I was like, I already know Jay ready for the next level. I want you to, I would love for you to kind of talk about, because we look at this big number, 200K. That's a lot of money. Like, some people don't even see that in 4 years of a corporate
Mm-mm.
salary, which is, if you don't see that in 4 years, you need to be doing something different, because that is no, like, we're not living at those wages. But I want to know, Jay, like, I specifically remember a moment when you got your first pay in full
Mm.
5-figure client, that pay in full. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
What was like, what was the feelings in your body? How did you feel? Because that was for your group program. Because you started
Hmm.
off 1-to-1, right? My whole thing, y'all,
Hmm.
you start off 1-to-1, you phase into group. How did
Hmm.
that feel? That
Oh my gosh. So I was in Target at the time, but it was funny because that particular client, I talked to her way back in October.
mm,
So people don't realize that when you're making and creating these relationships, they may not manifest right then, but people will come back around. That's why you have to continue to
always
go.
do.
You have to continue to make it happen. So when she said she was ready to go, she was like, "Yeah, just send me an invoice." And so payment plan, right? So I'm just
That's where
sending
your
everything.
default
That's what
went
my
to.
default was.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I went and took a nap. And I wake up and I see an email saying, "Can you just, hey, can you invoice me for the full program?" I bumped my knee and hurt it so bad trying to run back to the computer.
That's before she had her automated systems in place. But
I was manual at that point. So I sent it, right? And so now I'm in anxiety mode. So I was like, let me just go to Target so I can get my mind off of
invoice.
this 10K invoice. So I was at Target and I'll never forget when I saw it come through and I almost like it's like nausea came up and I had to bend over on the target on the basket and I was like, I gotta get out of here. I just left the basket there with everything in it and I walked, I just couldn't believe it. And I was like, what the look.
You DM'd me so quick. You was like, "Oh my god."
This
But
is what it looks like.
I expected nothing less because that's amazing. Had you ever received that much money at one time in your life before?
Absolutely not. Not even in a tax refund.
She said, "Absolutely not." That is
Oh.
like people don't even make that in 3 months.
Mm-mm.
And you made it in literally one sale because you mastered the art of building relationships, having conversations that convert, and selling your little heart out every single day. Like it ain't nobody's business.
That's right.
Mm-mm.
And that was my like one of my highest months, one of them. And I mean, just to look at the entire thing, I mean, that was like a 25K cash month. Going from $138. That was yeah, that was it.
Ooh wee. Oh my gosh. Girl, this whole podcast episode, I'm just like sitting here like in awe of the greatness that you have portrayed over the last almost 12 months. And like the fact that you're just getting started. You're
Mm-hmm.
literally just getting started.
Yeah.
Ugh, I'm loving it. So I would love to kind of know, when we think about these like amazing sales that are coming in, when we think about because when you first started, like we have the signature process where if you haven't or don't already have like high ticket experience, you usually start with 1-to-1. And then
Mm-hmm.
like about a few months in, like you started filling up. So you pivoted over to group. What's been your favorite? I want to ask you these two questions. Like, what's been your favorite part about transitioning to a group coaching program? And what was the thing that you like didn't expect transitioning into a group
Ooh.
program?
Well, transitioning, I love to teach anyway. So that was kind of a natural thing for me. I was fine with it, but it was scary. So
Yeah.
when I was doing the one-on-ones and I was like, okay, I'm at capacity. I feel like now my days are kind of filling up. So when I transitioned over, I love courses. So I love to teach. But one of the things that I love about it is that I get to teach more people. You get to
Mm.
scale easily. But one of the things I did not expect was to feel as if I wasn't doing enough. I felt like I was like, but my clients were fine. I think you used to tell me that too, like, Jay, they're fine. I was like, no, they're not. They probably need this. So it's like I was always I was over nurturing sometimes. And but the thing is that we create these stories. And this was just something that I took from corporate. Like I was always overly delivering, making sure everybody was fine. And in the end, it left me kind of like a little tired.
Yeah.
So, and I remember you saying on me about like, you need to get help. You need to get help. And me being like, oh, but this is my program. And I want to do
They
it.
need
Yeah.
me.
And they made me and only me. So, and then it got to a point like, I'm going to burn out. I'm going to break my business. So I had to, make it okay for me
Mm,
to lay it down and allow someone else to kind of pick that energy up because give so much energy and because I love it, right? But at the
yeah.
same time, the body does need to kind of rest. So,
It does.
mhm.
I love that you like touched on that because I get that all the time. It's like Latisse, oh my gosh, like, and I had the when I went to group created Elevate in 2019, y'all. I was scared to death to hire an assistant coach, scared to death because I'm like, I know I get my clients amazing results, period. But like somebody else, I don't know about that. And I get asked this all the time. It's like, how can I be sure that my clients are going to get great results if I'm not holding their hand? I would love to know like what was that like switch for you, Jay? Because I know the answer, but what was that switch for you to be like, I have to release? Obviously, like the tired piece, but furthermore, like what was that like internal switch that like you had to get additional support for your clients?
Absolutely. So I looked at the entire profile of my, my ideal client, if you will, and I looked at the fact that yes, she needs the sales piece, but she also needs the feminine embodiment piece because I know sometimes women we get into a place where we're gunning and we're pushing, 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 but
Especially as entrepreneurs and CEOs,
absolutely.
masculine energy everywhere.
Mhm. And one of the things that was kind of missing was that money mindset piece. Like I had it. I knew the abundance piece and sometimes I still struggle with it, but I still needed someone to come in and step in and really give these women the tools and I guess you could say systems to kind of take their minds and give them some practices that they
Yeah.
can stay in that money mindset, that abundance mindset that you need. In my opinion, one of the quotes I always say is that the world is your pipeline. There's always opportunity. There's never
Everywhere.
ever enough. There's it's never enough. You have to keep going.
You have to. And you have to take care of you too, because your mind is
Mhm.
what's going to drive every single thing that you do. And if that's not taken care of, like I can talk strategy all day, but I love talking about the other side of that because you will never hear me preach strategy is all you need. You will never hear me preach
Mhm.
that because it's not. And I love that you decided like I know it, but like I am not positioned to teach it as well as somebody else. And
Right.
like my clients, right, need other perspectives.
Mhm.
And I promise y'all, if you're like, oh, like, how would my clients get great results? They're going to get better results, right? Would you agree? Have your clients started to get better results since you've implemented an assistant
Absolutely.
coach? Not that they were getting great results already, like amazing, but like that, those results got 5x, 10x because
Mhm.
now they're getting other perspectives.
And they're getting what they need mindset wise to help
Yeah.
shift them. And I know that, for me, it's definitely been a journey for me to kind of stay in that. And I definitely don't want to paint the picture that, it's all about the grind and the hustle, but there is, time where you have to hyper growth. And I wanted these women to understand you're building a company. You're not building a hobby. This is you have to take this seriously. And
Yeah.
so having a support coach helps them to see the holistic side of business. And while I kind of charge up and really drive in the strategy on my
Yeah.
side.
And the big
Mhm.
vision. I love
Mhm.
it. So if y'all are on the fence, you need to get an assistant support coach if you don't already, because truthfully, it's a game changer for you. You get your time back. You get to do what's yours, stay in your zone of genius, and your clients get better results. Period.
Mhm.
And you can't grow if you're trying to hold on control that is going to break eventually anyway. So you got to release
Absolutely.
it before it gets out of control. So I love that you have had that experience so far because I know that was something that you and I went back and forth on for months. And I was like, Jay, I don't want to hear it no more. If you don't hire this dang support coach, I'm flying to Memphis and I'm a hire for you because this ain't it. And now you're like, she just told me y'all before the podcast, she's like, I'm about to take my first full day off. My coach is doing all the coaching that day. I'm just like, exactly. Period. Like, what a game changer. Now you get to go spend time with your daughter, get your nails done, read, go out to eat, do whatever, and your clients are taken care of. And they don't need
Mhm.
you. They need you, but they don't need you. I promise. This has been such an amazing episode. So I have a couple more questions for you, Jay, before we wrap up. The next question I would have for you, or like that I want to learn or know about, is for anybody that's like sitting at home on the fence of being like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to scale. I'm ready to create a model that gives me my time back, gives me freedom, and that allows me to make as much money as I want. What would you tell them to do right now?
The first thing I would say is that you have to determine how bad you want it.
Mhm.
And every entrepreneur needs a coach, not a manager, but a coach, somebody that will pull the best thing out of you. And like I think I told you, to help find the light that was already there.
Yeah.
And so if that person is needing someone, it's time for them to move and elevate. Like I think that the name of your program definitely spoke to my journey is to elevate because I got the skyrocket and all this other stuff, but I definitely elevation had to come first.
Mhm.
So that is kind of where I want to tell people is that if you want to elevate, do that and do that with a coach.
Do that because you ain't gonna do it by yourself sitting at home
Mm-mm,
mad at
mm-mm,
everybody else's wins and you just sitting there not getting what you want because you deserve
mm-mm.
to get what you want, but you have got to decide that because Jay already has the business. She made the investment a year ago and has a multiple six-figure business. I'd say that's a pretty damn good return.
Absolutely. Return on
um
investment.
yeah, and like I mean you made a return on investment in the first couple of weeks. Like I mean you made it back quick. So if you're sitting here on the fence of like, is Elevate to Success right for me? Shoot me a DM, y'all, because honestly, like, let's just talk about it. Let's have a conversation. I'm not here to force a sale down your throat. I'm here to help you make an empowered decision. And you know what that decision needs to be today. So thanks, Jay, for sharing your journey and your experience. I got two last questions for you. What has been your biggest win since you started the Elevate to Success program? We talked about so many, so you're like, it's probably just the whole
Mm-mm.
thing, but
Being able to take a dream trip to Egypt, like take a vacation to
yeah.
another continent, and my business gave me the opportunity to do that. And I
Mhm.
was so nervous. I was like, my clients, they're probably going to hate me. And they were like, what? We're so happy for
Go.
you. I'm like, go, please go. So that probably had to be one of the biggest wins for me because I've always had to save up, for a
Yeah.
vacation. But this
Or
was the
not right
first
now
time.
it.
Right,
Mm.
have to procrastinate, but to see myself at that level when I got the opportunity to go, I was able to pay that day.
And you went and like it was within like a couple of weeks, right? It
Yeah,
was
it
like,
was
do you want to
real
go?
quick.
Sure, let's go. A couple weeks later, I'm going to Egypt. I'll see you on a coaching calls in a couple weeks. I was like, okay, Jay, have fun. That's the freedom, y'all. That
And
is
didn't have to
freedom.
struggle when I got there.
And I
Yeah.
had a ball because I
And
was
have
like, dang, I should have went because I was preparing for the retreat. Otherwise, I would have been right on the plane with y'all. Because another one of my clients, y'all actually, she's in a previous podcast episode, Casey, Jay and Casey
mhm.
went. And I'm like, ooh, if I hadn't like had the retreat, I would be right there with y'all because it looked amazing and life changing. And that's the freedom, y'all, that like this type of business model allows. Like, imagine, Jay, if you had like 21-to-1 clients, there would have been no way. Like, that's not in the
Mm-mm.
contract that you are going to take multiple weeks off. There's no way. And you have a business model that allows you to do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want, and it pays for it. No
Oof.
stress. Because Egypt, I know that wasn't cheap,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
but
So
it felt effortless. I
it
love
was
it.
trip of a lifetime. It
Yeah.
really was.
Love it. One last question for you. I love to wrap up the episodes. It's been amazing to have you here, Jay. I always love to ask some of our guests about, think back to like the best piece of big business advice that you've received. What's been that advice and how has it changed your life?
Best business advice I would say is master a skill set. It goes back to what you said earlier is, we're so focused on the $100,000 months and the yachts and all of these great things. And people fail to realize that these people got there by mastering first, and nobody takes into account the road up. So if you're going to quantum or if you're going to go there and have this luxurious life, it does take the work in the beginning. And not to say the hustle and burnout, but to really understand that you have to, first of all, study yourself, study the offers and the services and your clients that you're trying to obtain, and you have to stay consistent in that. So if you're not mastering something so you can go to the next level, then you're going to sit right there until you do it. So
Mm.
I would say the biggest business advice and tip I can give to anybody that I've received myself is definitely master so that you can move on to scale and hire your team, etc.
That's powerful. Learn, be a lifelong learner, y'all. Master it. Get
Hmm.
really good at it. Get known for it because there's so many options and opportunities out there and so many, even myself included in the past, just shiny object syndrome here, there, everywhere, doing this, doing that. That didn't serve anybody. All it served was my ego. And I think that business advice is fabulous.
And also too, the offer. The offer is
Yes.
very
Oh,
important. I remember you
yes.
taught us about the one signature offer. And I know I got fussed at trying to do a little something here and there, but I remember that the one signature offer that you taught us was really to get us to, and I still put that in mastery category, to master your person and be able to scale with just that one thing. And so I really think that having a very tight, business model to give you a chance to kind of grow your business, because entrepreneurship, in my opinion, is a spiritual assignment. You got to
Mm.
be able to take the road up, and you got to do it with all the vision that you can muster and make a reality for you.
Whew, mic drop. Literally, it's a spiritual assignment. Yes. This has been the most amazing podcast episode, Jay. It's been such a pleasure. Before we wrap up, I would love to know, where can everybody find you on social media?
Well, since I took everything off, you can only find me at Facebook at Jayna, Jayna, or you can go to my website at work with Ellison, ELOCIN.com.
Jay, thank you so much for today. You are
Thank
truly
you.
your little rocket, and I'm just excited to continue to see you on your journey. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, If you loved today's episode, I would love if you took a quick second to leave a rating and a review. It truly means the world to me and helps spread the message to coaches just like you who are ready to go to the next level in their business. And if you're ready to start scaling your online coaching business, I want to take the time to invite you to apply. This is our exclusive high-level group coaching program for coaches ready to create and launch a signature group coaching program. This program would help you finally scale past those coveted 10K months and create a scalable business model for years to come. Head on over to www.laticehudson.com/apply to submit your application and get all the details. You don't want to miss it.